These are the top 5 phishing email scams in 2026. Emails is still the biggest way that hackers are tricking your teams into giving them access to your data. And these are the top 5 ways that they're doing it. Number 1 is streaming and subscription emails. So these are things like Netflix, Spotify, stuff that your team are going to be paying for every month. So they're bought into the brands and they trust them. That means that they probably trust an email that seemingly comes from them. They'll often have an urgency built into them. So things like, your subscription's going to end, or there's a problem with your payment, click here now. Number 2 is energy and utility scams. These are often from suppliers that they know and trust and that they probably are expecting to get communications from. Once again, they will always try and push the point of your account's going to be closed, or there's some kind of urgent action that needs to be dealt with ASAP. Number 3 is delivery and online shopping. So these are often one-off purchases that the person may have made relatively recently. So the big hitters are always going to be Amazon, they're going to be the local supermarkets, they're going to be the general ones that there's a good chance that the person has just made a purchase using one of those online platforms. So this is why they work so well, because they send them out in such bulk. There's a very good chance that at the time that they send it out, the person may have already done an order within about 15 minutes before then, so of course they're expecting an email from that provider, so it's a really quick way to swoop in there and get the person, while they're not suspecting it, to click on and enter their details. Number 4 is mobile and telecoms providers. The reason that these are really popular is that the end user, they know and trust the brands, but also there's not that many of them. If you think how many millions of customers there are in the United Kingdom, there's only half a dozen mobile phone providers. So for example, there's a good chance that if I said, are you with Vodafone? There's a good chance that you might say yes. So it's a really good way of targeting those users. I can send out, let's say, 10 million spoof emails, and there's a good chance that actually 2 million of them will land on the right subscription model. And number 5 is government and financial scams. These are a really popular one because everyone receives them occasionally, and they add a lot of weight when you receive that sort of email, because it could be a government one to do with payroll and taxes, or possibly car tax. So often people will trust them because of who they're coming from. The main red flags with these sorts of emails is they're always going to have an amount of urgency in there, and they're going to request prompts of information. So for example, passwords and things like that. So you need to just make sure that when you get an email through, is it correct? Does it look correct? Is the grammar correct? And are the links all correct? In terms of the links, for example, you need to check the email address that it says against when you hover over it to what the actual email address is. But the main rule that we would always say is never use these links within the emails. If one of your suppliers sends you a legitimate email that requires your action, so let's say for example a payment did decline because the card had an issue, never ever just click on that email and go through to the payment. Manually come out of the email, then go online, log into your account, and if there is an issue it will show you within the account. So just don't use the links. So it's a really good practice. But again, they're always going to try and push the urgency, and they're just trying to get the timing right. It's all to do with the volume of emails and the spoofs that they're sending out. At some point, they're going to get it right in terms of the timing. Whereas if you've trained your teams not to click on any links, or even if they do click on the links, make sure that they do not then follow the prompts and enter any details. By staying alert and understanding these common phishing practices is a real way of protecting your data and your business. So if you are a business owner and you want to find out how you can easily train your teams and make sure that they're up to date with all the latest scams and that they understand the potential downfalls, then Syn-Star can help. So for you to find out more about cyber training and testing for your company and employees, please click on the link.